Hi students, this is a sample video of what the flipped classroom is going to look like. For this sample lesson, we're going to do adding fractions. You have a note sheet with you, so you should be filling this out while we're going along. We're going to be talking about two important vocabulary words as we go along. One is the LCM, or the LCD. The other one is equivalent denominators. Let's look at the LCM first. That means the lowest common multiple, or the lowest common denominator. You may get this between two numbers or between three numbers. It's going to be between more than one number. Some strategies that students use, one is to multiply the numbers together. That will give you a common denominator, but the problem is it may not be the lowest common denominator. The strategy that we're going to focus on is creating a list of numbers. If I want to find the lowest common denominator or the least common multiple of 9 and 2, I'm going to make a list of multiples. So listing 9, you're going to get 9, 18, 27, 36. I'm going to pause there because I already wrote a few multiples. Now let's write the multiples of 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Were there any in common yet? No, not yet. So we got to keep going with 2. 14, 16, 18, 20. So by now we're thinking what's in common here, what's the same? 9, when 9 doesn't work, 18. 18 does come in common. So the LCM of 9 and 2 is 18. We're going to do a couple more examples like this, and then I'm going to have you look at a word problem that would involve least common multiples. The first problem that's like this, with our example here, find the least common multiple of 5 and 8. If we multiply them together, 5 times 8 is 40. Let's find out if that's really the least common multiple though. Multiples of 5 went up to 25. Let's do multiples of 8 and see if we get there. 8, 16. Were any of these multiples of 5 yet? No. Let's keep going with 5 then. 30, 35, 40. Ding, 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 we have a winner, 40. 40 is the least common multiple there. So for this one, our strategy of multiplying the numbers together worked. Let's take a look at example 2. Example 2 says to find the least common multiple of 10 and 6. If we multiply them together, we get 60. Is that really the least common multiple though? Let's see. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. Those are all multiples of 10. Let's see what our multiples of 6 would be. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. And do we have a multiple that's in common already? I think we do. This 30 is. So sometimes multiplying them together can get you the least common multiple. Other times, making the list would be a better idea. So for this one, our least common multiple is 30. Keep in mind this multiplication method though, because it's going to come in handy when we're adding fractions together. Let's take a look at a word problem. Alright, here's the least common multiple word problem for us. Every 3 days, Gia eats chocolate ice cream for dessert. Every 4 days, she eats vanilla ice cream. How soon, how many days will she eat both ice creams on the same day? So how many days will it be, or how soon will it be until she eats both on the same day? We would use the least common multiple to help us figure this out. Let's take a look at one way to solve this. The first method that we can use to help us solve this problem is a calendar. I've drawn a makeshift calendar over here. And let's see, every 3 days I'm going to use green for chocolate, and I'm going to use, every 4 days, I'm going to use red for vanilla. So let's see, on the 3rd day, she eats chocolate. And then another 3rd day is chocolate. And another 3rd day, we go 1, 2, 3rd day is chocolate, 1, 2, chocolate, 1, 2, chocolate, 1, 2, chocolate, and 1, 2, 3rd day is chocolate again. Those are the days that she's eating chocolate. Let's see the days that she eats the vanilla ice cream. It's every fourth day. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is vanilla. 1, 2, 3, 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is vanilla. So was there a day where she ate both chocolate and vanilla? There sure was. Let's count which day that was. That is the 12th day. She ate both. We're going to check out another method to try that too. Let's try just using the LCM. Let's list multiples of 3 and 4. Multiples of 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. We'll pause there. Let's look at multiples of 4. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Were any of those the same? 12, nothing before it is similar, so we say 12 is our least common multiple. For this specific problem, that means that the 12th day, she eats both. So now we're doing adding fractions. You may ask yourself, why did we have to find the least common multiples there? They will help us find a way to add fractions together. Let's look at these. 1/2 plus 1/4. When I'm thinking about those, I'm thinking about the pictures in my head. What does a half look like and what does a fourth look like? A half, if I'm taking a piece of a block like this, would look similar to this. And a fourth, we'd break it up into 4 pieces and shade in 1, so I have a fourth. How in the world would I add those together? If I was just using these blocks, that would be really nice. I could just put them together and say, there we go. But how would I name that fraction? Let's use the LCM to help us out here. We have to have equivalent denominators here. If we don't have equivalent denominators, we can't add those fractions together. They're not the same size pieces. So let's try this. 2 and 4. Let's make a list of multiples there. Multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Multiples of 4, 4, 8, 12, 16. Was anything in common here? The 4 was. Sometimes that least common multiple can be one of the numbers itself. So this means we're going to need to change our fractions into fourths. Since 1/4 is already in fourths, we don't need to change that. Our 1/2 we need to change though. So let's get 1/2 equals something out of 4. How do we get from 2 to 4? I'm going to ask myself this every time that we change these fractions like this, that we convert fractions. 2 to 4 multiply by 2. And if I do it to the denominator, we have to do it to the numerator. Times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. So now we have 2 fourths. So now we can go to our original problem and change that 1/2 into 2 fourths. When we look at this now, 2 fourths plus 1/4, they have the same denominator. When we add fractions, we leave that denominator alone. They have to be the same. And we add the numerator. 2 plus 1 is 3. So 2 fourths plus 1/4 is 3 fourths. Let's look at this picture though. I changed this 1/2 into fourths. I'm just going to cut these into fourths now. So now I have fourths shaded in. I have 2 fourths shaded in, and I have 1/4 shaded in. How many fourths do I have altogether? 1, 2, 3. We have 3/4 of that shaded in. We're going to do one more example, and then I'm going to let you try some on your own. In our final example today, we're going to look at 1/6 plus 1/4. How do we make those out of the same fraction? Let's list our multiples here to find the least common multiple. Multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18, 24. Multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and so on. Do any of those match up together? Let's look at this. The 12 matches up. So now we can make these fractions out of 12. Let's start with 1/6. 1/6 equals something out of 12. Because that was our least common multiple. So now that's our least common denominator also. Remember, those two words are interchangeable. To get from 6 to 12, we have to multiply by 2. So we have to do the same to the numerator. 1 times 2 is 2. So we have 2/12. Let's look at 1/4. 1/4 is how many twelfths? To get from 4 to 12, we multiply by 3. To get from, to change our numerator, we also have to multiply by 3. 1 times 3 is 3. Now both of our fractions are out of 12, so now we can add them. Remember, keep your denominators the same. That's how we know we can add them. And add your numerator. 2 plus 3 is 5. So 5/12. If we look back at our original problem, we have 1/6 plus 1/4. We're adding those together, and we got 5/12 from there.